You're plugged into Schaumburg Speaks, a podcast highlighting and celebrating local businesses and community in the Schaumburg area.
Hello and welcome to Schaumburg Speaks, where we're plugging into business and community, brought to you by the Schaumburg Business Association and Ian Ryan Interactive. I'm your host, Andrea Bewer, president of the SBA, and today's guest is owner of Xtra Mile Running, Christopher Schiel. Hi, Chris. How are you?
Hi, Andrea. I'm great. How are you?
Well, Xtra Mile Running. So let me just tell you all a little bit about Chris. He is a 3-time winner of the National Best Running Stores Award, and he hosts over 100 plus runs a year. He is director of Roselle's Run for the Roses 5K, Spring and Fall Walk to Run programs, Global Running Day with the Schaumburg Park District, and much more. Welcome to the Schaumburg Speaks podcast.
It's a pleasure to be here. I appreciate the opportunity and everything that you've done coming into the SBA.
Well, thank you, Chris. I mean, running, shoes, this is just passion. Like what you're doing is just something that is near and dear to my heart. So we are excited to have you here. So let's dive right in. You have a specialty store in Schaumburg. Why don't you give us a little bit of details on it?
Yeah, thanks for leading with that. It's something that's very passionate for me. It's something that I hope that I can do until I reach retirement age. When people think about a specialty running shoe store, the definition of that has evolved a lot over the years. And so oftentimes we'll have people walk into our store and they're maybe a little bit intimidated. They walk in, they get 6-8 feet in the door and they say, I'm not a runner, but... and we see that 7-8 out of 10 times.
But they want to be.
Customer.
Probably their feet hurt, and they come into your store and they want to look at shoes.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
Probably 75 to 80% of the business in these stores is not runners. And so we oftentimes have to overcome this barrier that they have of understanding that, as we say, forward is a pace. A huge part of our business is walkers, medical referrals, people with advanced age, or just general soreness, pain in the feet. And so the service that we really provide, in addition to the products that are on the table in front of me and stocked on the shelves in my store, is service. The folks that work on my staff, and myself included, we're experts on shoe fitting. So we measure, we take the time to get to know someone, whether that's injury history, training volume, what their activity load is like, and then we're going to match them to the right product. We're going to analyze their gait, we're going to scan their foot, and so we're going to do a very comprehensive fit process to find the right product for them. And we don't charge for that service.
That's great. It seems like everybody is charging for extra services. So one question that I have, obviously Schaumburg has tons of retail stores, throughout the boundaries. What made you decide to open a small business in Schaumburg?
Yeah, great question. So as the quote goes, fate isn't just whose cooking smells good, but which way the wind blows. You could have the best cooking, if no one sees it, no one smells it, doesn't matter. So we had a run specialty store, I won't name them, but they were in Schaumburg up until about 10 years ago. They built a wonderful community, and I was part of that community. There was another store that folded in a different market, and that retailer moved. And our thinking is that they felt they could retain the Schaumburg market and gain access to a new market. Unfortunately for them, it didn't work out that way. So the community that was left behind continued to meet, continued to organize. Right. Yes, our run club was running out of Meineke Rec Center with the Park District, which is a wonderful facility.
Beautiful, right.
However, it wasn't our facility.
Right.
And so we were just kind of in the way sometimes, stretching in the entryway and yada, yada. So I had finished my MBA. I was working in corporate management. I figured for sure somebody's going to come in. Schaumburg is a huge economy. Somebody is going to meet this need that's unmet. And they didn't. And so one day I talked to my wife and said, hey, what do you think?
Let's do this.
Let's do it. And she was supportive and probably thought I was a little bit crazy. And I quit my job the following Monday and within 5 months after that, Xtra Mile opened its doors.
That's such a cool story. So it was a passion of yours, and then here you are 10 years ago opening that. So you mentioned briefly about the services that you provide. Let's dive a little bit deeper. Because of, again, there's different options in the area of where to buy shoes. What specifically do you do there?
Sure. So if somebody walks into our doors, they might be, if they already know what they want, that's one thing. They're repurchasing, whatever. But if we have a first-time customer, they're walking in our doors, oftentimes they're going to say one of two things. One is, I'm looking to add something into my routine. I'm going to start walking 60, 90 minutes, or I've been walking, I want to graduate to running, or so on and so forth. How do I do that? What's the right product for me? So we're going to take the time to get to know that person. In our store, we call it the rule of threes. We have to have at least a 3-minute conversation with them before we even are willing to discuss product.
Okay.
Because how are we going to make a curated recommendation for someone if we don't know the things that we need to know? What are you using these for? What is your personal injury history? What are your goals? And so on and so forth.
So you really take time with each customer that comes in, and you just get all their information before you make recommendations. That is different. That is definitely not something that you get in a typical retail place in the area, for sure. What about, so you provide these services, they come in. How many brands do you carry? I mean, what do you do that's different, like from e-commerce and things like that? Like what are the main things?
Yeah, I think that's a great question because it is so in focus right now. We're at a huge inflection point with retail in this market. E-com is huge. I talk to other retailers in the area, other owners and other store managers, and we're kind of united in this concept that we don't compete as much with each other as we compete as a group against e-com.
Right.
And in a lot of ways, e-com is antithetical to what we do in store.
Right.
If you go onto a website or a review site, what have you, everyone's trying to sell their product. And so it's very hard to differentiate one brand from another. When you go into a retail shop like ours, first you're going to get service from experts who use the product and who walk the talk. But in
You're
addition,
going to get to touch it and
yes,
feel it,
you
right?
can try it on.
Yeah.
As we say, you only get one chance to get it right the first time. On a landing page on an e-com site, they're trying to get you to buy their product.
Right.
However, you can't get a direct comparison, and you can't get an experience the way that you can in store. So we take a brand agnostic approach. Any brand that's on our wall is going to be a top quality brand because we're a high-end store. That said, you might take the opportunity to try on 6, 8, 10 pairs of shoes and walk out that store knowing that you got it right.
And knowing that it's comfortable. I know my experience with e-com has been, you look at comments and what people are saying that supposedly bought the product, but a few times that I've bought shoes, they haven't been what they were cracked up to be. Even if they were a name brand, they've been uncomfortable or something wasn't right. So I could see the value of everything that you're doing there immensely. So what are some of the products that you carry? Like I know we're seeing some products right now here.
Yeah, so our products fall into several different buckets, right, of what the intended use is. The majority of what we sell is going to be walking and recreational running. And so that looks like a daily trainer, like this here. So this is the Brooks Glycerin. It's a relatively neutral shoe, meaning it's designed for someone with a healthy gait pattern. They can walk in it, they can run in it. What you really need out of that is energy return. It's going to absorb the shock of impact. It's going to return energy, which lessens the load on everything from your hips down.
Okay. Super cool. I love the way that looks.
I know, it's gorgeous. I wish it's a women's color run, but I would wear that.
Yeah, it's super cool.
I think anybody could rock that.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so you've got that. What are some examples of how customers that have come to your store have benefited from getting their shoe through you versus, again, one of those big retailers? Is there any other additional services that you provide during the lifetime of their running or what have you?
Yeah, this is something that happens on an ongoing basis, and it's great when we bring a new hire on and they really get to positively impact someone's quality of life. As much as we have that walker, runner, healthy gait cycle, neutral neutral gait cycle, we also get the advanced age customer. We also get the medical referral.
True. Okay.
So last weekend, I had a staff member out, so I had the pleasure of working on a Saturday, which I don't often do. And we had a customer who came in late in the day. She was a woman in her 60s, and she was suffering from neuroma.
What is neuroma?
It's a nerve condition. Usually it presents in the forefoot.
Okay.
You can get anything from tingling, numbness. Sometimes they feel like there's a pebble in their shoe. And we see this a lot in folks with higher arches, advanced age, dancers, so on and so forth. The nerve endings are between the bases of your toes.
Okay.
So when you get forefoot pressure there, over a lifetime, it's going to develop into something, neuroma, neuropathy, a number of different things. But she came in. She was not someone who exercised at all. She just, I'm in pain. Someone said that you guys can help. So we measured her. Most shoes, they have lift in the heel to offload onto the forefoot. We put her in a brand that doesn't do that. It's more of a balanced platform. So now you're not getting pressure on that forefoot. We balanced her out. We widened the toe box. And she walked around for probably 20 minutes in our store in that shoe. See, with neuroma, it's always something. You got to kick the tires. Didn't want to walk out, come right back, So we're at the register, and I had a new hire standing next to me, and she looks at both of us, and she says, "You guys changed my life today."
Oh, my God. That's great.
It's just the little comforts.
So, again, you mentioned running and walking, but there's other medical reasons why people would shop at your store as well. And I know that as the community is aging, I know as I'm getting older, my feet don't feel as comfortable as they used to in shoes. So you definitely have services for people like myself or for others that have feet problems. Well, that's great. So with that, what other trends are you seeing in the running, walking comfort shoes that are out there? What's on the forefront? Is there anything new and exciting headed our way?
Absolutely. So there's two things that are really coming on strong right now. One is maximalism. If you have seen people walking around in those shoes with those massive midsoles, they're just chunky, right?
Yes.
So that max cushion, maximalist mentality is really sweeping the nation coast to coast.
So it's not just for people wanting to be tall, it's for people, or is it? Maybe.
I always hoped I would get to 6 feet, and now that might be possible.
And now it will be with these shoes. But they look so funny, but that's a trend. I think, some of them, I know the kids today are wearing these massive soles, and so that's a trend that's going to stay.
It is a huge trend.
Okay.
And if we're looking at 3 to 5 years to be kind of that indicator of what's a trend.
Of something staying and
it's here. Just like the athleisure trend. We're probably 15 years strong on that.
So other than making you taller and it being more comfortable, is there any other reasons why getting that type of sole, the thicker sole, is good for your feet?
Yeah, so part of it is technical and part of it is based on fit and step and feel. Stepping on a cushion feels great. But if you look to people who are our age and older, shoes didn't used to have the level of cushion that they have now. And
I wonder why.
That's the technical part.
Yeah.
And so if you did that, you had to sacrifice something. And what you were sacrificing was energy return. So picture yourself walking on a sandy beach.
Okay.
It's soft. It's not going to hurt your feet unless you step on
great.
rock. But
Sometimes.
Can you walk fast?
No.
Because it's not returning energy.
Okay.
Every footfall is
sink.
just being absorbed into the sand.
Okay.
And so as technology has advanced, we've found ways to increase the stack height of these shoes to create a great step and feel with more cushion and preserve that energy return. So now you can have your cake and eat it too. And so folks who are on their feet, whether they're just working on their feet all day whether they're walking, whether they're running, they can now get a benefit from that, where maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago, you would have to
didn't.
sacrifice.
Right. Okay, that's cool. Is there any other trends? So obviously the thicker soles, the comfort, any other trends that you're seeing?
Yes. So the other big trend right now is more specific just to your runners, and it's very hot, and it's carbon-plated racing shoes.
Never heard of it.
It's a really niche thing, but folks who are training for that half marathon distance and up, it's all the rage. And what they do is they put a carbon fiber plate in there that it's really aggressive. These shoes are not comfortable to walk in.
Does it cool their feet? Does it make their feet more comfortable? Faster?
Think of an aggressive tailwind. It's pushing you off with every step.
But it's not comfortable. So that's interesting, but it's a trend for runner.
Well, it's comfortable when you're running.
Okay.
It's just not comfortable to walk in because
Okay.
it is so aggressive. And these are the really high-end shoes. You're talking $250 to $300 retail. But if you're that performance-minded runner,
and you're doing what you love, you're going to spend the money on it.
you're going to spend.
That is really interesting. So is there any trends for high heels with running shoes combining? No? Darn it.
I mean, some of them have a lot of
I've
lift in
seen
the heel,
those.
but-
I've seen those recently,
But that's
but
a
no.
fashion
So
play.
it's not something that you're going to carry. So what advice would you give to your customers? Because obviously they come to you if they have medical needs as well, if they have bunions or plantar fasciitis. I think my mom has that, and I know she has a very hard time getting shoes fit. Number one, do you have shoes that will help people that have those conditions, and what advice can you give them if you do?
Yeah, thank you. That's a great question, and that is a tremendous part of our business. Medical referral is huge, and your mother's story is definitely not unique. Plantar fasciitis is the number one thing that we see coming into our doors.
You know what, and for our listeners that aren't familiar, could you just, I know you're not a medical, but you definitely
yeah.
specialize in feet and comfort. What exactly is that?
Yeah, so plantar fasciitis is quite simply inflammation of the plantar fascia. The plantar fascia is a connective tissue. It runs from the base of your Achilles around, I'll use a shoe as a prop here, from the base of your Achilles around the bottom of your foot, where it connects here at the base of the toes, the metatarsal heads. And so what happens is sometimes it's an overuse thing. You're just on your feet too much, you're working too hard. Or sometimes there's a specific event that triggers it, right? You stepped on a pebble or whatever.
Really? So it's not just being overweight or different reasons why anybody could get something like that, or not just age. Okay.
So the best advice I would have for that person is come to our store. We're going to take the time to try and uncover the root cause of your plantar fasciitis. We have dozens of questions that we can ask to kind of ascertain, okay, where are we at? Is this early stage? Has this been going on for a long time? How intense is the pain? When is the pain? So on and so forth. From a footwear perspective, there's plenty of things that we can do to mitigate those symptoms. Most of the people who come into our doors with plantar fasciitis, we can help with footwear and a little bit of homework for them to do to reduce those symptoms. Usually it's as simple as, hey, take a break, let your body heal. Other times they might be more advanced, and then we can refer out to physical therapy.
That's great. Well, you could see that you all definitely care, and I could see why you've been in business for 10 years, and even though there's big box, retailers all around us, why it's important really to go to a store like yours. So I know we talked about that. What other, I think for our listeners that are runners and that are interested in great shoes, have we missed anything else that you'd like to share regarding your store that's in Schaumburg, regarding some of these shoes that you brought with us today?
I think the one thing that I would put out there is that we're very good as a society at curing and treating disease. We need to get better at promoting wellness. So, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of the cure. So be intentional with what you walk and run in. Shoes and mattresses, that's where you spend 90+% of your day. So make good decisions. And for all the runners out there, don't be superstitious. Your
Okay,
injury probably was
really?
not caused by your shoes.
Okay.
Unless they were too old and you just needed to retire and replace them. Keep an open mind. Get your gait analyzed and find the best possible product for you.
That's great. You've been a Schaumburg Business Association member, as we talked about earlier, 5 years, and a board member for a couple of those years. And I know you help us make strategic directions for the businesses in the community. How has it benefited your store being part of this business community here?
Joining the SBA was one of the top 5 decisions that I've made since I opened my doors. Connecting with the local business community is just essential. For a store like us, a retailer, there's multiple prongs to that approach. One is just networking, figuring out what makes sense, what kind of partnerships make sense, what are mutually beneficial partnerships. And for those of us that are in small micro businesses like me, we don't get out much. A lot of times we're handcuffed to that business.
Right, because you have to be there when your store is open.
We have to be there. And even if we're not covering the floor, we're training staff, hiring, firing, doing the books, whatever it is. And so our time is very precious to us. And what the SBA has done is it's given me an opportunity to meet with other professionals where, hey, maybe I can use their services. I found my accountant through the SBA.
Yeah.
Also, it can create awareness for our business. And the best advertising is word of mouth. So when Danilo comes into the store and he has a great experience, he's going to tell people about that. And one thing that I can say for sure is that our SBA community, we are very focused on supporting Schaumburg and its neighboring communities, shopping small. And so I appreciate that both on our bottom line as a business owner, but also when I'm looking to develop myself, whether I'm looking to develop myself personally or develop my business and find out, okay, so what's the next thing that we're going to take on strategically? And then one last shout out to you coming on last year, late in the year. Having the opportunity to do this podcast is a benefit to me and my business.
Thank you.
And some of the other events that you've brought in, the legislative panel that we did. We're talking about tariffs later this month. Very zeitgeist, very specific things that I think is going to bring a lot of value to the membership. So thank you.
Thank you very much. It's so appreciated, but that's why a business association is here. We're here for our members, and we're here to try to come up with things that you'd be interested in. So I appreciate all your support. Because there's a lot of new companies that are moving to Schaumburg, what advice would you give somebody that's brand new, that's thinking of joining? How should they get started? How did you get started 5 years ago? Because, look at where you've become, where it's come for you.
I'm going to give myself an attaboy, and I'm also going to give credit for that to someone else. The SBDC at Harper College is a tremendous resource. If you are thinking about starting a business and you're listening to this podcast, you should schedule a session with them. They will work with you. They know more than you do. They are professionals that can help you. And so, or if you're an existing business owner, you can still use their services.
Advice.
They're wonderful. I'd also join the SBA in year 1.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So I know our listeners right now, you're wondering how they could get in touch with you, Xtra Mile Running, and Chris, and your expertise, because you definitely have the experience and run lots of running events as well. How can they contact you?
That's the easy part. We're a retail store. So
walk in.
Go on our website, walk right in. You can Facebook message the store. You can Instagram message the store. You can write a message on the website. You can call us. There's probably other ones that I'm forgetting right now, but those are the most common. We certainly recommend just walking in. There's not an appointment necessary, and you can get everything knocked out.
That is the easy way. And also, because you're members of the Schaumburg Business Association, you could go to our website, schaumburgbusiness.com, and find anything. You could find your information on there as well. So is there anything that you want to share with our listeners before we go today, Chris? This has been awesome.
Yeah, just a shameless plug. 10% off for SBA members.
Oh my
at our
God,
store.
10% off. So, or go to the store, mention SBA, show that you're a member. That's great. Well, thank you for coming.
Thank
and we just appreciate having you here and sharing, with us all your wealth of information and your amazing shoes. I know I, for one, am going to go there shopping, and I cannot wait to get some more comfortable shoes. And who knows, maybe I'll start running now, because you could give advice on where we need to go, what we need to do.
There's hope for all of us, but forward is a pace.
Great. Well, thank you to our listeners for tuning in to Schaumburg Speaks. And again, don't forget to shop local and support businesses like Chris. So thank you. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.